This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. This is how I feel about these devices. All right, so I've got two of my favorites on here, the iPhone 13 Pro and the Z Flip 3. Now this is the front camera on the Z Flip 3 over here, and this is the iPhone 13 Pro. So this is a cinematic video on the iPhone 13 Pro and portrait video on the Z Flip 3. Now, obviously, the Z Flip 3 in this arena has somewhat of an advantage because I can do different filters, which, you know, this is probably one of my favorite filters on the Z Flip 3 or just any Samsung device. But iPhone may not be able to do those filters, but the Z Flip has all these different things that it can cycle through. So this is a very cool one right here. But this is cinematic video. Handheld, so it might be a little shaky, but this is cinematic video for both devices. We'll go outside and do some talking and everything and just kind of show you outside. It's a gloomy day. It's been raining, but we're gonna go ahead and make it happen. I'll just stay in the patio area that's covered. But let's go outside for a little bit. All right, so it's definitely windy outside, so I'll go ahead and shoot some more footage here as well, but this is just outside in this area. It feels great out here. Oh man, so let's do the rear cameras, just regular video. Now again, it's super windy out here. Both cameras can do 1080p 60 and 4K 60 on the front. But what do you think about the quality of this footage coming from both Z Flip over here and iPhone over here? These are the front cameras. Just gonna walk around here, see how it handles the back highlights. Sky. It should get really clear for both right here. What do you think? This is showing you how windy it is outside, man. It's blowing my little portable hammocks around. We're gonna step out here into the culture and the elements though. It's not raining at the moment, but it was. Now, unfortunately for the Z Flip 3, there's no wide angle option at 1080p 60, but when I switch to 30 frames per second, I can do a wide angle. Also, obviously, the Z Flip 3 doesn't have a telephoto lens, but this is just to show you the quality and me walking. It is windy out here. Advantage iPhone in 1080p 60, ultra wide. Now this is 30, 1080p 30, ultra wide on both. I like that they both can adjust while you're recording. That sometimes is not an option on devices. It doesn't allow you to adjust. Sorry, I bumped the camera a little bit. Look at how the colors are being reproduced too. And again, advantage iPhone, it's got that telephoto lens, and I can do a digital zoom on here. 2, 3. Let's get to 3. That's exactly if I can get it. That's 3 right there on both. The iPhone is the telephoto lens, and this is a digital zoom on the Samsung. You can see the difference. iPhone over video appears to be very clear, but what do you think? Now back out to wide, and then normal. So in this part of the video, I'm using the rear camera for the device for the Z Flip 3, and I'll switch over to the iPhone 13 Pro's rear camera. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not comparing the 13 to the Z Flip 3, I think the 13 Pro is actually a pretty good contender because I speak very highly of the Z Flip 3 and the device as a whole. And that's personal experience, and that's just the way I feel about the device. The Z Flip 3 has an advantage because it has a cover display to record and use its best foot forward. When I use the iPhone in this setting, I have to rely that I have the tripod set up correctly. But nonetheless, this is the Z Flip 3. There's no special lighting or anything like that. I don't have any kind of external microphones going. This is just regular press record, and it's sitting on a tripod. So now let's switch to the iPhone 13 Pro. All right, so now here is the iPhone 13 Pro up on the tripod, and the iPhone 13 Pro to me does much better for an iPhone. These are some of the best rear cameras on an iPhone that I've used. It's just gotten better over time. They're a little bit better in performance than the 12, not by much, but it does have a little bit of an advantage. And I really like the rear cameras on the iPhone 13, but disadvantage when competing against the Z Flip because there's no cover display on the outside here. There's no way to see that I'm framing this shot correctly until after I'm finished. Now onto the front camera for the iPhone 13 Pro. This is Apple's best foot forward at the current time for a portrait style video, which is called cinematic video on an iPhone. To me, the Z Flip 3 does this much better because Samsung has had more time and practicing and putting in the work to get a portrait style video. They went from calling it a live video, whatever it was called, live photos, live video. End result is you've got on the iPhone a very realistic portrait video where you can change the f-stop. And even on the Samsung Z Flip 3, it's not labeled as f-stop, but you can definitely change the blur effect on the Z Flip 3. And you can also make filter changes real time on the Z Flip 3. But this is the front camera on the iPhone 13 Pro in cinematic video. Now here is the rear camera with the iPhone with cinematic video. And again, not being able to frame my shot, a little agitating, but nonetheless, this is still pretty decent video. I think I like the front camera for portrait video better than the iPhone in most situations, but sometimes the rear camera can get it right. Now, portrait video on the Samsung on the front camera, this is what it looks like. It's pretty good as well, but the advantage Samsung I think gives more detail, more sharpness. There's no smoothing or any kind of filters are turned off on the devices. So this is what it is. And their portrait video to me is a little brighter than the iPhone's video, a little bit more color accurate in some situations. But then the advantage again with the Samsung is this. Change the different filters right while I'm shooting. Super cool portrait video. You can do so much with this, and you get that little, you know, it's really nice, man, to be able to change these filters like this and really have some fun with these cameras. Now I'm going to switch to the rear camera, and I get to frame my shot because I have a display. Another advantage to the Z Flip 3 when taking video and photos and everything, you can use hand gestures. I started this video with the simple hand gesture of putting my hand up like that, and it started the video. Now, obviously, with the rear shot, I can't make any changes to the filters because I can't see the screen, but I do have this beautiful cover display to help me frame the shot and get the shot that I'm actually looking for. If I want to use the rear cameras, which is Samsung's best offering right now for the Z Flip, this is what I got. All right, guys, so I'm closing out with the Z Flip 3. Personally, I think that the Z Flip 3's cameras are really good. The iPhone's cameras are good, but most of the iPhone's footage doesn't have the sharp, crisp detail that the Z Flip 3's can offer. So to prove that, since I chose this camera as the better camera of the two for me personally for video, and this is the rear camera, I'm going to switch to the iPhone one more time and hold it right here where I'm holding the Z Flip 3, and then I'll officially close out. All right, yeah. So here's the iPhone 13 Pro. Now, advantage iPhone 13 Pro in some areas. It has the telephoto lens. It has the 3x zoom. It's really good. But this video footage and this is the iPhone's rear camera. I like that it can do unlimited recording with no issues. The Z Flip 3 can do unlimited recording too, but the iPhone, I think, handles it a little bit better. The Z Flip 3 gets a little warm to the touch if I'm doing a handheld video, but this is the iPhone 13 Pro standing in the same spot. Now, you just saw all the footage from both outside, the photos, blah, blah, blah. And I want to switch back to the Z Flip 3 right now because this is the footage that you're getting from the same spot right here with the iPhone 13 Pro. And you tell me what you think about this. So as you can see there, that's why I choose the Z Flip 3. Now, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. This is how I feel about these devices. When I'm using both of these devices, they both do good. Now, to be fair, I've used both of these devices to record top-down video of products. So, but again, I still prefer the Z Flip 3's footage. I have the iPhone set to cool because that brings it as close to a pixel tone as I can get it. But I like the detail and sharpness that the Z Flip 3 gives in video, and it's just that simple for me. So you decide what you like, which one you like better, but I definitely like the Z Flip 3's cameras better than the iPhone 13 Pro's cameras. Unpopular opinion, probably, or some of you guys might just agree and say, you know what, you're right, it does look better. In this particular setting, it looks better. Now imagine if I was out in the sunlight and all these different other areas, it would be even better to me. iPhone does do well on the front camera in cinematic mode. And then outside the iPhone, again, the iPhone just needs really strong lights in order to compete for this type of setting and this type of video. So again, tons of people will probably disagree, but you're free to disagree, but I'm showing you the content right now. So what do you think? It's your man Jay. Z Flip takes the win on this one.